All right. Good evening, good afternoon to all of you that are here. I'm excited. My name is Marina Shakour Haber, and I am your host tonight for obviously a workshop on anyone with anxiety, specifically for those who are sick and tired of having irrational fears, and so much more. Now, what I have done is that I am going to give you 3 experiences tonight, how you can relax yourself and your body. In a moment, I will give you a quick breath relaxation technique that you're going to do with me. And the intention is that you let the day go by, that you slow your heart rate down, and that you become more focused and calmer, which is the point of this workshop to begin with. And then I will have a slightly longer one. And and then I will have at the end one more relaxation technique, but also with a visualization. So there's a combination. Now, furthermore, what I will be talking about tonight is I will share with you some of my knowledge about anxiety, why anxiety is a problem, and why you must address it. I will give you some research data on it, and then I will show you 3 techniques that you can actually start using as of tonight that will help you to take your control back. Then I will give you a couple of bonuses and also invite you to another step in your journey, but I'll get to that in a moment. So what my hope is for you to take home, or maybe you are at home, to take with you after this workshop, after all the years and decades that I have studied and learned this particular subject and such subjects, is to give you the ability to switch off your anxiety when needed, at will, and instantly to return to a state of calm so you get your life back. Because when you have anxiety, you know that it can control you and hold your life hostage. Now, you are here in this workshop, which tells me that most likely anxiety has been affecting perhaps one area, or perhaps it has spread to many areas of your life. And you may be feeling deflated, depleted, defeated. Now, it truly doesn't matter whether your fears are rational or irrational, whether they are real or imagined. The mind cannot differentiate between that. And therein lies also good news, because we can manipulate and work with the system so that you can pivot your fears into courage and new behaviors. I'd like to really emphasize that you are not alone. Anxiety, regretfully, is spreading. It's becoming bigger and more prevalent. I will go to that in a moment. And furthermore, it is important to realize that your fears are very valid. Be in this together. And tonight I will share with you information that will help you not only to shift your psychology, but also your physiology, your behavior, and your view on life, because that makes all the difference. You must remain calm and learn to have this state, you have peace of mind. And it is important because when you are in a frenzy and in that flurry of anxiety and fear, you are not fully focused, you're not present. You spread thin. And I want right now to help you to reclaim your power and to bring you back to this state of calm. So what I'd like you to do now is don't try too hard to keep your eyes open or allow them to just close. Whenever they're feeling heavy, that's right. And now what I'd like you to do is lean back in your chair, if that is possible, and just take a deep breath in through the nose to a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale through the mouth to a count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And go ahead and repeat this again. And with every breath that you are taking into your body, you feel new energy, new life entering your body, life force. And with every exhale, you're letting the day melt away, softening your muscles and lowering your heart rate now. And with every number that you count, and with every footstep that you see making in the sand on the beach, you feel calmer and even more relaxed than before. That's right. And with the next exhale, just go ahead and make a loud sound like, oh. And allow this feeling to go through your entire body from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes. That's right. And know that this is a safe place and that all is well. You are safe and protected. And now, take another last breath and you can open your eyes and come on back out again. All right, so let's get started with the problem that anxiety is. So anxiety is not only just about creating fear, but it creates that persistent, consistent, annoying, and overwhelming gnawing sense that something is fundamentally wrong with you, with your life. Hold on, let me enter. Okay. With your life, your health, your choices, your future, and your painful past experiences that paint the picture of your present and overshadow your future. But that's not where it stops. It expands. Anxiety is about everything. You can be anxious about everything, internal as well as external. And this constant sense that everything is wrong leads to you feeling this heavy weight on your shoulder, the weight of perpetual worry, where you think that you can't do anything right, you make all the mistakes, you are just, frankly, not good enough, and or have just so many issues going on with you. And that kind of dialogue, internal dialogue, leads to an increase in anxiety, and it fosters feelings of inadequacy and fuels negative self-talk as it creates negative expectation, often resulting in a cycle of doubt, imperfectionism, and dissatisfaction. And what do you think that when you are in such a state, what you choose to do? You avoid those very situations that create this fear, this anxiety in your body, physically and psychologically, and you avoid it, and instead you apply protective safety behaviors. And it is in those behaviors and the avoidance, you create more anxiety. Anxiety is not something that just pops up. Usually it starts in childhood. And many of you may have experienced being bullied, being judged, ridiculed, humiliated as a child. And many more people than I ever thought have experienced absolute childhood trauma, be that in their home, be that in their environment, in school. And what happens when that is going on in a young child's life is that they need to be super vigilant 24/7. It's not like you put it on the calendar, be careful at 6 p.m. in the evening, but it's all day long. Someone could attack you. And so that creates, unfortunately, it develops your brain differently. It overdevelops and stimulates the limbic part, the protective part, while it underdevelops the cognitive parts, which explains why children that are living in these conditions are have poor learning skills and do usually poorly in school. It's logical. And furthermore, when you live in this state that you have to be hypervigilant at all times, you must be on alert. When you choose or when you allow yourself to calm down, which frankly is the best you can do because you're more focused, but in that illogical thinking, that calmness means that you're not paying attention, and therefore that threat could come in. Furthermore, you fear the fear of anxiety and you spin in all areas. One of the really significant and saddest parts is that you can't even allow yourself to be happy, because like the calm, the happy is when you let your guard down. And then what happens? Oh dear, you're not paying attention, and there comes the danger in. And what I've seen in working with people, that many have had such terrible childhood experiences that they are worried that if they're happy, that they are not preparing themselves for potential loss or disappointment, the worst case scenario. And that means they don't have a plan, which worries them, so they can't be happy. And that data stems, of course, from past trauma or negative experiences and the unfamiliarity with positive emotions. They usually have very self-esteem. Many people, did someone, okay, let me see who that is. Oh, there is a phone on. Okay, I can't help that at all right now. So let's go back. My apologies. And I have to find it now again. That's unfortunately happens. Would you please not breathe into the phone? Please. Okay. Remove. Okay. All right. Let's continue. My apologies. Let's go. I have to just open it up. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. Let me come back to this Zoom, and we will go back here and share. And unfortunately, I can't find it anymore, which is unfortunate, but here we go. Didn't think that this would happen to me tonight, but I guess I was wrong. We think we are protected, and then we are not. And I simply cannot find it anymore. Okay, I need to close this. And that is so unfortunate. I don't know why I cannot open it. All right, my apologies. Okay, here we are. And we are here. Maybe that's my problem. All right, let's come back. I did it before many times. Here we go. All right, we had a little interruption and now we go. All right. Huh. All right, here we are. We talked about the childhood and the supervisions. All right, so that's what happens. The calm becomes worry. We did that. We did the happiness, the catastrophic mind. This is what happens when, unfortunately, anxiety just doesn't stand still. It continues and it escalates. From the little worry, it goes to seeing and painting everything as very dramatic and very, very negative. So you distort the possibilities, the negative possibilities of the future. From a mild storm, you imagine it becoming a hurricane and all the consequences that could befall you on account of that, although there is no evidence of it. It is just that in your mind, you are just basing it on my past has been horrible and therefore my future must be also equally as bad. And what you do is you enter the endless worry loop. The what if this happens, and usually the what ifs are negative, and what if something else happens? So you worry and you worry. From a small stomach ache, you imagine it could be the other massive thing, and you feel it, you Google it, it gets worse. And that is not only, of course, with health issues, but with any issues, your finances. You start a business and you go, what if this goes wrong? I better not do it. What a pity. So the response to these worries is truly fear. And what happens is that you are overcome by emotional overwhelm and it holds you back. You envision failure and its consequences. And what really happens is you experience a loss of control because the worry is looping and looping. Now, when we experience anxiety, logic does not apply. You're dealing with the unconscious, the subconscious, and the limbic system, which are not logical, but they are purposeful, and their purpose is to protect you and keep you safe. So therefore, logical approaches are not helpful. Anxiety is a problem simply because, not only because you're feeling uncomfortable, which you do, but it's much bigger than that. It's truly draining your system. There's an exhaustion factor, and that has to do with the stress curve. Now, stress has its benefits. We must experience stress because there's a heightened alertness in moments when we need to be on high alert. But when you are in a chronic stress state, in the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response, or actually it's a reaction, then what happens is that you are depleting your internal resources. You disrupt your energy, your bodily energy, your hormones, your chemicals, like hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. You're all sending it into the muscles that help you to run away or protect yourself from this real or perceived threat. Now, here's the thing, though. There is a high to this, and the high is right here. There is an addiction factor to feeling the high, and then you come down. And in stress, you seek the high. In anxiety, you seek the relief, because the down is when it increases the fear again, and you're seeking the relief. What it does to your body is, if you're in this constant state, you're creating not only a depletion in your body, but also an inflammation. You're always hot, always on alert. And therefore, your protective mechanisms, your protective cells are weakened and allowing those harmful cells to enter and mutate. So that is the problem with that. Fear becomes draining because it leads to mental and physical and emotional exhaustion. It disrupts your sleep patterns. It presents itself as illness in your stomach, in your lungs, in your heart. So there is physical manifestation and there is a neurochemical imbalance. When fear rules your life, you waste your time, your money, your energy, worrying about things. Some of them you cannot prevent, they're outside of your control, and some won't happen at all. And what you're really doing is, when you're run by fear, it impacts your focus, your concentration, your decision making, and it drives your protective behaviors, which are procrastination and avoidance. So it really takes a toll on your life. Fears cause shame and embarrassment. You will feel like an outsider, not perhaps realizing, because you're also very focused on yourself, understandably, because it's such an overwhelming feeling, not realizing that many other people deal with this. So you're feeling that if you express this, that you're ridiculed by others, which leads you to not talk about it, which heightens the shame and the embarrassment, and you seek isolation, which makes them grow bigger. You are choosing isolation for a number of reasons. One thing, because you're feeling uncomfortable and don't want to feel uncomfortable in front of other people or being with other people. Furthermore, I also feel it's as part of the freeze response, the freeze or fawn. You are frozen in fear and you must find a hiding place to just fawn, as in playing dead. The problem with that is, of course, you are not strengthening the social connections, the relationships with family and friends that could help you and help you, support you, and get you out of this state, while you are making the anxiety worse, because in isolation, you start spinning even more. The isolation causes anxiety too, a double-sided sword, knife, whatever. Furthermore, anxiety, when you feel anxious, just imagine this for a moment. Imagine there is something that you fear and you feel that it's a threat to you being your person or in your job, what have you. And as you avoid that threat, you feel yourself shrinking and minimizing, becoming smaller, and hiding and ducking in a safe spot. So what do we really do? We overestimate, we're making the danger bigger, overestimate the danger in our mind, while we are underestimating and lowering our belief in ourselves and our internal resources. And that, unfortunately, exacerbates the cycle. Here's why you must address anxiety. Because if you leave it untreated, it's like you saying, okay, it will take care of itself. Just like you took care of your garden once, you plucked the weed once, and you say, it will stay that way, it's fine. But what really happens is that it starts slow, from one anxiety or one weed to more, and then they multiply and have almost that snowball effect, and it becomes bigger and worse very, very fast. And it expands progressively. That is the cost of avoidance. Anxiety spreads from one part to the body to another, from one issue to another, from very specific fears to general interactions, from I can't go to this one store to I can't go to any stores at all. I don't want to be out with the crowds around Christmas time to I can't ever go out again. And so it becomes that domino effect, and it really becomes your prison if you avoid it. Every avoidance reinforces existing pathways. So imagine a triggering event. Let's say you have to give a presentation at work to the boardroom. You are very anxious and nervous about it. The day comes along and you are choosing to call in sick. You feel such a relief. You dodged that bullet. But as you're coming out from this relief moment, now the fear and the anxiety are growing as your belief in yourself is lowering because you couldn't face it the last time. So what tells you that you can face it now, right? So the best choice to fight this is to face your fears and not to avoid them, which takes me to why you really need this. Well, first of all, we need to lower the threat. We can do that. Best way to do that is by building you up. It is so important to, with small steps, with small events, that you build yourself up and increase your belief in yourself, while also improving your strategies, your techniques, and taking small steps towards this bigger goal. So you build a database of evidence of your resilience versus a negative database of all your failures. That's why this is so important. Let me give you 3 data points that will emphasize why anxiety is really is such a problem in our society. Number 1, there is a rising global burden of anxiety disorders. Anxiety has increased since 1990, with an 18% rise in prevalence and a 20.6% increase in incidence. Now, in 2021, they established through research that the biggest bracket of people with anxiety are those young adolescents and young adults, ages 10 to 24. And what it really does is impacts your daily life, including your work, your school, your relationships, and your health. You may experience intense fear in common situations and avoid social interactions. And a significant portion of people may also experience depression. So that's really an additional problem on top of the fearful state, but one feeds the other. The loneliness epidemic, I'm so sure that you've heard about that, a lot about that. And we are saying, and the belief is, and research shows, that a lot of that has started with the introduction of the smartphone. I agree, of course, the evidence states it. But I also would like you to think about the following scenario. When you look around our world right now, there is so much anxiety and anxiety triggering events that are going on, from our politics to finances to environment to tariff wars to real wars to hunger in the world. that and all the other things in your daily life that attack you, where I believe that the body goes into this natural freeze state simply to start protecting you, and therefore you're pulling away from society. Unfortunately, it exacerbates the problem and increases your health risks. This will, I'm sure, astound you, and yet it's logical. Research has shown that people with anxiety, presenting with anxiety, delay treatment from between 3 to 30 years. Now that's a big number. Versus 1 to 14 years with other mood disorders. They're saying 36% of people experience symptoms for 10 or more years before seeking help. It is logical because you're dealing with fear, and fear shuts you down. There's also the embarrassment and the shame factor. There is the fear factor, the freeze factor. So all of those things contribute to not seeking help. Let me give you 3 techniques that will help you maybe as soon as tonight. So, name the fear to tame the fear. So, specificity is a good way to face your fears. Now, instead of being general, in a single sentence, state the specific fear you are experiencing. Then ask yourself, what is really underneath this fear? It's like peeling the onion leaves, layers. All right. So you're getting to the heart of the matter by going within it. And that is when you do that, it stops the spinning of the anxiety, and it brings you out of the limbic into the prefrontal cortex, because you have to now breathe and you have to think about it. And that activates the prefrontal cortex and it slows down your limbic system. So that is a very good and very simple technique for you to start as of today. This is a little bit longer, but it falls into the same area. So when you experience an anxious thought, now what I'd like you to do is to start taking notes and to have a journal. Put it into a journal. So what time do you typically experience this fear? All right, write it down, put the times around it. And then you also notice, what did you do at the time? Was it time when you were hungry or tired or what have you? Then I'd also like you, as you're looking at this event, what were you doing right before it? What were you thinking? Or perhaps, was there something that was going on around you, like an external event that triggered this particular fear? Write it down. How many times have you had this very same fear before? Recognizing a pattern and seeing that there is a pattern helps you to break its power. And then ask yourself, what about the last 10 times when I experienced the very same fear? What happened? Most of the time, absolutely nothing. So you're taking the sting out of the fear and you are seeing it as predictable data rather than urgent truth. And last one is to flip the script. So when there is something that causes you to experience anxiety, identify that irrational fear and ask yourself, what would you say to a friend who would be asking you for advice when they present with this issue? Now, say it to this, think about it, again, prefrontal, you're activating your thinking brain. And then think about what you would say and then say it in a calm, strong, and supportive voice, and say it out loud, because you have to bring it outside of yourself, and write it down, not or, but and, because when you write it down, it becomes visible and it takes it out of the invisible parts of your mind. Very powerful technique. And this is the one that I'm going to do with you right now. So if you're driving or operating any heavy machinery, please don't. But other than that, I invite you to sit back in your chair and lean back, all right, and relax and shake your shoulders right now. And I'd like you, in a moment, we're concentrating on the one point, which is a point beneath the heart, above the belly button, and it is in between the front of your body and your back, so absolutely in the middle. But before we get to this, I'd like you to close your eyes and go back to a stressful event, something that angered you or caused you really to feel very anxious, nothing traumatic. And as you close your eyes, I'd like you to go back to that moment and really let that feeling come up, let it really rush through you as you see it, you feel it, you hear it. And when it's really nice and high, I'd like you to measure what number you're at, between 1 and 10, 10 being the highest. And just remember it. And now what I'd like you to do is take a deep breath and take one hand and put it on this spot underneath your heart, above your belly button, and focus on this one part, on this one spot. As you inhale through the nose and exhale longer through the mouth, and you continue repeating this as you focus on the one point, the core of your body, inhaling and exhaling gently, and feeling the relief, the softening of your muscles, the facial muscles, the neck muscles, all the way down through your stomach and down to your toes. And noticing the gentle rise and fall of your chest. And you continue breathing, and I want you now to go back to a time when you were really, really happy. Recall a time when you felt really, really good about yourself, confident, happy, perhaps even in love. And return to that memory in this moment now, and see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel what you felt and how good you felt. Make that image bigger, brighter, richer, bolder, more colorful. Put some light in, and make the sounds supportive and harmonious and empowering. And now double that good feeling, and double it again, and double it again, and double it again. Double that good feeling. Feel it flowing through you, through your entire body, and double it again, and double it again, and again. And now, at the height of it, I'd like you to step into that image of you. That's right. And feel what you feel. See what you see through your eyes. hear what you hear through your ears and feel that good feeling in your body. And now take on the physiology of that you being so confident and empowered. Notice how your body shifts. Your shoulders are strong, relaxed and strong. Your gestures are empowered. And your face is radiant. And you're smiling. Yes, go ahead and show your teeth. You're smiling. You're feeling it. And now I want you to squeeze your thumb and middle finger together and anchor this amazing feeling into your subconscious mind now. That's right. And now I want you to imagine that you could speak to your heart. Ask your heart now how you could take better care of yourself in this moment and this situation. What could you do to make it better for yourself? Listen to what your heart has to say to you. To your answering your question, and act on it as soon as you can. Do not delay. And now know that your heart will continue talking to you while you sleep and dream and sleep. Tomorrow and for many, many days thereafter, continue your dialogue with your heart. And now come back out and back into this room, into your room right now. Take a deep breath and stretch and open your eyes. And what I'd like you to do now is measure your stress level right now. Remember, from 1 to 10, with 1 the lowest and 10 the highest. Where are you now and where were you before? Just as a measure, that's how quickly you can bring yourself down. If you're above 4, you need to repeat it and do it until you are below the 4. So these are the strategies, some of the strategies that I use to work with my clients and to help them reclaim their peace of mind and help them take their control and their lives back. And I realized that most people who worry and stress do that because, number one, they're clueless as to the harm that does to themselves, but they believe that it gives them an upper edge over stress and anxiety because they protect themselves from loss and failure. Remember, we said that earlier. But they don't realize how much their chronic stress and anxiety affects their health and their well-being. But they also don't realize that they're losing one massive thing that you can never get back, and that is time. You give up your time. Our problem truly is not a lack of good intentions, because we do have good intentions, but rather it's a lack of knowledge, how our emotions influence our bodies and our minds. It is about our skewed perception of being victims instead of then really being active contributors to and participants to the states we find ourselves in and contributing to that. And the problem that we're really facing is that it's not a lack of power, but a lack of know-how. We don't know how to flip this around. The real goal here is not to take your anxiety away. It would be impossible, and it would also be not really a very good idea, because it is there for a reason. The reason is to keep you protected and vigilant. We're not wanting the overprotection and the overvigilance, because when you go into the states, then your protection becomes your prison, and it chokes you. You suffocate yourself, and it handicaps you on many, many levels. The truth about anxiety and fear is that they are bullies. Fear is a bully, and a bully depends on your fear. What it does, fear holds you back. Fear holds you back. There's the fear of failure. There's the fear of success, the fear of rejection, the fear of the unknown, of the uncertainty, fear of not having enough. Fear is also of all the things that are outside of ourselves. So fear is both. Fear is a bully, and so is anxiety. The effects of anxiety is that it will affect your sleep as well as your moods. Obviously, if you're constantly worried, you have those 3 a.m. wake-up calls. It creates panic and paralysis, being freezing in a store, being panicked and paralyzed at stores, in public places, you name it. It leads to decision paralysis. You're so afraid that you're making a wrong decision that leads you to not making a decision at all, which is most likely your worst decision. It leads you to perfection, prison, and paralysis. You expect so much of you, which pushes you into avoidance and procrastination. It deters relationships, and as we stated, it leads you in social isolation, making the problem worse. And it becomes your downward spiral, sucking you down and affecting your self-esteem and your self-worth, whilst you're disconnecting from others. This is what one of my clients said to me, that she could not take this anymore. And because of that, I created this recording and the program that led to this recording, From Chaos to Calm. I really made it for all of you. And what I want to do is give this to you, because these techniques are extraordinarily powerful, and they help you when you practice them at least twice a day in the beginning, because then not only are you learning them and calming your states down, but you're also starting to rewire your neural pathways. I also want to give you my new ebook, Wellness Without Worry. It is filled with a treasure of information from anxiety, what it does to you, and giving you tips and techniques so that you can truly have your peace of mind and take your power back. And I'm giving you these free resources because I really know that anxiety is limiting your potential and fencing you in. Awareness is important. It's your first step to become aware that that is happening to you. But it's only one part of the equation. And there is that other part, which means taking action. And I realize that it is very difficult when you're in this state of freeze, fight, flight, or fawning to take that step. And what happens? It becomes a huge gap. And that is what research has also shown, that people with anxiety disorders are less likely to seek professional treatment, and they are delaying it by about 11 years. Again, imagine of all the things that you could achieve in your life, instead of sitting there frozen in fear, making the fear worse. So you're not making it better, you're making it worse. Most people's problem is that they don't know how to get help, how to jump from one to the other. How to get help is really the key thing, because the how to is as important as the why. So the fact that you're still in this workshop, even after our little glitch, and that you've made it to this point tells me that you are really actively seeking to find a solution to this problem that is handicapping you. And you'd be surprised how many people find relief and relax once they have a strategy and a structure in place, because it is the uncertainty and the no structure that causes the anxiety that gets them from where they are to where they want to be. And that's why I have created my new program, the Clarity Collective, where you learn to release your anxiety, reset your mind, and reclaim your peace. Here's what it is. I am planning to start this in September. We are going ahead in September. It's a live virtual collaborative. I will be presenting one workshop per week at 2 different times to accommodate different time zones. I will be educating, I will be teaching you techniques, and I will have you practice them in breakout rooms, which have a dual intention. One is the obvious, to learn the technique, but the second is to get to know each other. Because what I'd like you to do is then I will have a community chat group where we support one another, whoever needs help. And I have to tell you, I've heard of from a lot of people who said, I wish I could just, instead of reaching out to me, that they could have someone else that would just listen to them and support them. And that's what this collaborative community chat group is supposed to be. Support groups. I want you to create support groups where you meet and talk to one another. Community building, relationship building, strengthening. There will be mastermind groups through the chat group and mentorship. Plus, you would get annually 1 hour of a success session with me, and all of that for $97 per month. If you register now, and that's all it is, emailing me I will give it to you in a moment, you will get all of that. The success session, the From Chaos to Calm, the Wellness Without Worry, the cohort, you enter a cohort, the first cohort of 20, and you will meet with me for 20 to 30 minutes. And what you don't need is a credit card, because I ask for nothing, just for a yes, saying yes to yourself. So these are the things that you're going to get. The book, the recording, a session with me in 1 year. So it's within the year, and the cohort. So what does this Clarity Collective do for you? It will clear the chaos to find clarity. So I've noticed that many people don't know what they want. So we will help you to find your life purpose, understanding what's been holding you back, learning who you are. What makes you tick? What brings you joy? Accepting and embracing the parts that present with anxiety, with fear, with hurt and pain. Reframing limiting beliefs, breaking unwanted patterns and replacing undesired behaviors. Changing perspectives, internal programming, and rewiring your brain and neural pathways. Enriching your internal representation of reality. People with anxiety and depression have barren representations of their reality, and visualizing a better future and moving towards it. How will it benefit you? Instead of suffering from anxiety and seeing yourself as an anxious person, this will help you to become you. Someone who's accepted and embraced themselves and accepted the part of themselves that presents with anxiety. Help them to lower that and integrate it into all the other parts that make you you. And instead of seeing fear and dread, you see fields of possibilities and potential. And you can't wait in the mornings to jump out of your bed and do what you love doing because you've identified it. So what can you get for $97? I did the math a little bit. You can buy groceries for maybe a couple of days, Starbucks coffees, maybe for 2 weeks, 12 packs of cigarettes, maybe 2 tanks of gas, 1 mani-pedi, or a lunch and dinner. Or investing $97 a month into yourself gets you personal growth, self-actualization, and personal peak performance. Which would you choose? Making good choices. Imagine not doing anything. That's a choice. Now, see yourself 5 to 10 years from now, regretting waiting for that perfect moment. Imagine choosing the coffee, the cigarettes, or groceries instead of your growth. And now, instead of that, imagine choosing to expand your life and liberate yourself from fear, pain, and limitations. And there's nothing to lose. You don't pay anything right now. All you're going to do is say yes to yourself. And if you don't love the program, no hard feelings, all you have to do is cancel. No questions asked. And I'd like to stress that we're in this together here in this room. I feel you. I know this. I've experienced it. But what I've also learned is that I have always plowed through it full force because I know that the longer you wait, the greater the imbalance becomes, the wider the gap, the bigger the problem, and the more your ego will talk yourself out of this. It's an easy decision. You're getting the mastermind, the mentorship, the mindfulness, because that's part of the program. We're going to do mindful practices, which are better actually than research has shown than medication. There will be communities. We are lacking communities. Isolation makes it worse. You're getting masterminds, I said that already, and all the chaos, the wellness, and the single, and you can get into the first cohort. If you'd rather, there's another choice for you to meet with me personally and hop on a call with me by going to this. And you know what? I can put this actually in the chat right now if I can find it. Let me put this in the chat right now and hit so that you can do this. It makes it easier for you. Wait, no, we're not going back. You're closing this. Very good. You can hop on by going there. You get onto my calendar. Also, do it right away. Don't wait. And this is what you get if you go and choose that option. You will get 40 minutes free with me. I will ask you a few questions and I will listen to you. I will give you some advice. And if you choose to ask me what working together looks like, we will talk about it. If not, I will not push you because that's not who I am. And for that, you get the Chaos to Calm recording and you get my free recording. So now what I'd like you to do is I'd like to close with you visualizing the future that you deserve and that you want. So one last time, take a deep breath in and close your eyes and imagine standing in a field of possibilities and potential and opportunities. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. Hear the gentle breeze, the summer breeze that makes everything so much easier and lighter. And see the bright colors, make them brighter. Make the place you find yourself even better. And now, as you're standing in this field of possibilities, imagine seeing yourself a year from now. You're seeing yourself a year from now, having taken the steps, having jumped over that gap, and you find yourself standing there and living that vision that you have had, the things that you wanted in your life. And you feel this sense of joy, of fulfillment, of calm, of peace. And you feel it filling your entire body. From going out from the center of your body all the way to your crown and all the way down to the tips of your toes and to the tips of your fingers. That's right. And as you're standing there, you're feeling comfortable in your own skin. So good. You enjoy being with your family and with your friends and being with people. You show up fully in life, at work. You do the things with joy, with confidence, feeling calm and quiet. And instead of those racing thoughts, these thoughts are filled with ideas of what you can do and how you can help others, which will help you and make you feel even better. And you feel, instead of that brokenness and the weakness, you feel strong, empowered, capable, confident, and you enjoy your life again. And you're looking forward to the future that is ahead of you. And now just briefly look to your left and look at this past year and see all the little steps that you have taken with courage, with a strategy, a plan in mind, and moved forward. And as you look back, you realize it wasn't that hard after all. It was easy, and it was a good decision that I have made then. And now look at me, feeling just like all those smart people that have faced their fears. Take a deep breath in and out, and shake your shoulders and come back out. That's right. And here we are. Take your shoulders, feeling good and relaxed. And now what I suggest is that you allow this feeling to continue moving through yourself, and go back into these calms. And before you go to bed, that's a good idea. Go back to this visualization of how you want to feel and make it bigger and better. And while you're at it, look at your day and first see the things that you could have done a little bit better. So things that you can improve upon, and then end by your evaluation of your day on the things that you did really, really well. And then allow that feeling of pride and joy to take over. And therefore, you start setting your intentions for your tomorrow. And that, my friends, is a way how you take your life back and how you make your life better without anxiety. Not that it will not hit you once or twice, but you know how to deal with it. So I thank you for staying here, for being with me, and I apologize for the slight interruption, but we made it, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hop on my calendar, take me up on my offer. And I am going to do this whether one person is in it or 20 people or 100. I'm starting it because I know that we need this desperately today. It's not only young people. Research is mistaken there. I see it in middle-aged people. I see it in older people. There is a problem because we have so much anxiety in our environment and within us. So take me up on my offer. Thank you very much. And by the way, next week, I think I'm going to have a presentation that will blow you away. It's about AI and anxiety. Ooh, I will put up the workshop as of Monday. All right. Good night, everyone. And I appreciate you and I thank you from my heart to yours. Good night.